Chris Allen, and this is the Chris Allen MMA show. Today I'm being joined by one of the UK's best, number 2 ranked UK's heavyweight pro MMA fighter. He's been all around the world. He's fought in multiple organisations. It's Stuart, He-Man Austin. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
How's it going, Chris? How you doing? I'm good.
Not bad. You got comfortable now?
I'm pretty comfortable. I might have to adjust a little bit as we go on. Kicked out of my living room and relegated to the bedroom, sitting on the bed.
There's worse places to be, man, than lying in bed. There's a lot of people that are still at work, I'm sure, thinking those assholes are all lying in bed, getting a bit of money for it, you know.
Yeah.
So what have you been? So obviously you're coming off a fight about 4 months ago now, and obviously you do like to fight quite regularly. So what are you doing with yourself to try and keep you in fight mode? Because I know you had a big win at Pro Bellum. I know you've got stuff for the future as well. Like, how are you keeping in preparations for all that?
I think you're interviewing someone else. I've not fought on Pro Bellum yet.
Oh no, sorry, not Pro Bellum, Contenders.
Yeah, Contenders. No stress. Man, to be honest, because I don't just train to fight. I train just because I like training every day. I train basically all year round. But at the moment, I'm just doing other stuff. I've been learning how to do kettlebells properly, not just some random pull up or, learn the technical way. So that's moderately interesting. I'm smashing a kettlebell into my wrist hundreds and hundreds of times over. What else? I've got my sled out and pulling the sled up and down a car park like a lunatic.
Why not?
It's all right. It's something to do. It's work, and rediscovered the beautiful art of shadow boxing. Oh my God, I think everybody is.
5 rounds of shadow boxing every day. The problem is, it doesn't hit your back.
Well, kind of yes and no. Because there's the braking forces of throwing shots, especially if you use weighted little weights. People don't like it because it changes the mechanics of punching, but it will increase your ability to create braking forces. But anyway, for hitting the back, get a sled. That's what you can pull the sled, you can row it, everything. Get a sled, no problems.
Yeah. Great idea, man. Just use what you can. Caveman training, man. I love it. It's my favourite type of training.
100%, yeah.
And with shadow boxing, do you find because you obviously got nothing to hit, you bit more work on balance and stuff, like you're saying, the mechanics sort of you're saying. So you have to work more on balance because you're not actually hitting something. You're technically missing, aren't you? For example.
Yeah. There's lots of footwork. Is important. Footwork and balance, yeah, for sure. The big thing for me, something I've had my whole career, is whenever I take even the smallest bit of time off from doing lots of pad work or shadow boxing, my shoulders just get nuked when I start. My shoulders fatigue like a beginner. Literally just like a tiny strip at the front of each shoulder. It's such a beginner thing. And so but if I'm doing round after round after round of shadow boxing, it's actually pretty good for that. I don't really it doesn't hit my heart, lungs, any of that at all. But it's just that fatigue in the shoulder, the ability to throw just loads and loads of punches. And I think for heavyweights, it's underrated how many punches you throw. Generally, heavyweights, you throw more punches, you do well.
That's it, mate. As I say, the guys at the lighter weights, let's go say, for example, like bantamweight or featherweight, they actually throw 70% more shots than the heavyweights do. So obviously that's down to, if you get hit by a heavyweight, you're pretty much dead. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah. But it's also down to the fact that I think heavyweights, and I've been falling victim to this myself, I feel like I've lost fights because of it. You get those sweet knockouts, and then your next fight, you're like, oh man, I feel this now. You're desperate to fucking land those big shots, and then you stop doing what creates the big shots, which is all the things, which is your jab, which is your footwork, your positioning, your setups, your feints, all that stuff. And you start thinking, oh, I've got these thunder and lightning in these hands, and people going, I mean, I've hurt people with both hands, but it doesn't. It's not me swinging wildly, which has won me fights. It's me, landing using my boxing generally. And then something lands, and then you're like, oh wow, I just hurt him. Oh, I guess we got to finish him now. But yeah, man, it's too addictive, and so many heavyweights. I have like this theory, like heavyweights who get past the lower level, like at a lower level, everyone's just banging basically. Doesn't matter. 90% of the guys, even if they can wrestle, they don't. They're just banging. And then you get to a certain standard, and then you're like, oh, have I actually learned how to do MMA? Because everyone can bang. So you've either got, it's either horsepower, like we've both got big horsepower at the regional scene, then we've got a little bit higher, who's got the most horsepower and the best chin, which is kind of like, you know, then you get into your kind of Derek Lewis's, like try it with him. Like you're welcome, anyone can try it with him. You ain't gonna win, but when you get to that stage, have you learned how to move your head? Have you learned how to shoot a takedown? How to maybe just box into a clinch and then reset and clinch again? Or you know, have you learned MMA? Like, because when you're up against like, yeah, Derek Lewis, Ben Rothwell, Ngannou, those sort of guys, you're gonna find out if you know how to do mixed martial arts or not. You know what I mean? Because they're the guys with horsepower.
Yeah, man, and that's what I love about watching the heavyweight fights. It's interesting to see who makes it first past the first, you know, maybe we're just getting into the second round, like half of the second round. I'm thinking, right now, heavyweights don't tend to last. Well, they do last, but I mean, 5-round fight for a heavyweight is a nightmare. I can see the exhaustion and a lot of things on the guy's face and stuff like that. So that's what I'm always interested in seeing. Do you think that's important that as a heavyweight you keep your cardio up? Because let's admit it. Let's say 70%, 80% of the heavyweights don't like going past the first round or the second.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think generally for most of my career, I was a smaller heavyweight. I was about 107 kilos, which I think about 235. And I'd find on fight week, I'd lose weight as well. Like, I don't know, the stress or something. I'd lose 4 or 5 pounds. I'd be weighing 229, 230. And everyone's like, oh, you can make light heavyweight. It's like, no, I've just lost all this weight. And I feel, when I did fight light heavyweight, I felt awful. And But I always had the gas tank. I always knew, okay, first round's over, right, I've won. In my mind, that was where I used to think, like, first round is over, I have won. And personally, I find the bigger guys are easier for me to fight because I tend to be the speed differential is greater, and obviously I can just rely on my gas tank. But yeah, the smaller heavyweights, for me, for my style, is more difficult. Because I lose what I use a lot more. I think a lot of the small heavyweights, when they fight each other, they used to be in the faster guys, and then they fight another small guy, and you kind of both counter each other at the same speed, and you're like, oh, you know, it kind of throws your style off a little.
Yeah, I love that style of fighting as well. Michael Bisping was great for it. You know, he didn't always have knockout power sort of stuff, but his advantage was cardio. You know,
Yeah.
like I think it's the same with both Diaz brothers as well. If you look at them and GSP and stuff, they get you past that first couple of rounds, and then like that's when we saw the Masvidal fight with Nate Diaz. Imagine if that went for 5 rounds. You know, you could imagine the cardio then.
What, Nate Diaz?
I think he's got good cardio.
Get out of here.
No.
Get out of it. Yeah, he does, but he was getting schooled. He was getting bust up. Cardio only goes so far, so there's a point where damage accumulates.
True. Yeah, like, he was getting lit.
It was getting beat up real bad. Like, he was not winning that fight. Just because going from 90-10 to 70-30, you know, I don't know. Like, Masvidal is, oh, mate, that guy knows. He knows what he's doing. He is amazing. Genuinely, like, he's one of the best people to watch to learn from, especially with striking. Like, just his level is so high. He's so technical, and he can do so many things as well, which is the best thing. Like, people like think of him as an MMA boxer. You know, his MMA boxing's brilliant. But if you watch the Diaz fight, like, you know, he's throwing elbows, knees. He's very, very technical with other stuff in there. His hand fighting's amazing on the feet as well. He is the one. He's a big one to learn from.
Yeah, and it's inspirational with someone like him because he did overcome adversity earlier on in his career. You know, had a few losses and stuff. But look at him now. He come back, and I think he was UFC's Fighter of the Year. I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there you go, mate. It just shows like anyone can go away and come back, and you know what I mean. You don't win them all, sort of thing. But mate, you've had an incredible career as well. Like, you look at most people in the UK's career, and especially at your age, obviously still a younger fighter, you're looking at, you've been everywhere, from South Africa to Finland to Russia to America. Canada, I think, was one as well.
Yeah.
And like, first of all, you had a fantastic start to your career. I think you're on a 6 or 7, even more, fight winning streak. And then you get your big shot in Bellator. First of all, right, must be amazing to get that call up for Bellator. But how did you feel having to do it? It was your first fight abroad as well. The first fight abroad and first fight in a big organisation. Like, first of all, how did that come around? And then how did it feel, like, mentally?
Kind of back in I used to be at Trojan Free Fighters, and we had Mark Godbeer was going out to fight in Bellator, and he kind of paved the way. People spoke to people, and we got another guy to bring in, and that kind of went from there. Him and Paul Sutherland set up, my old head coach, and yeah, kind of on the back of them, Bellator for me was a bit of a mixed blessing. Nobody's ever seen those fights. I have the fights. I should put them out. I don't know why I've never done it. My first fight, I thought absolutely great. Big, massive, monster guy. He's a Golden Gloves champion. I outboxed him, then took him down and submitted him. And the second fight, it's still hard. That's one of the fights in my career that upsets me because I dropped the guy twice in the first round. And just a bit overexcited, didn't get the finish. And he was tough as old boots, and he ended up he fractured my orbital in the second, and I'd never had like kind of a legit injury happen to me in a fight, and I had straight away went double vision, and I'd been just listening to too much of the CTE Joe Rogan bullshit. And I straight up, I panicked. I was like, "Oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? I'm hurt. And I wasn't rocked at all. But I was getting stressed. And you can actually see in the fight, I go from I'm constantly forward pressure, beating him up, winning all the exchanges. And there's a moment in the fight where you suddenly see me start just edging backwards, and you can't tell I've been hurt at all. But I just start edging backwards, and I lose the second round. And then third round comes, and my corner's like, right, let's get a takedown, because I took him down before. We can score takedowns on this guy. He was a wrestler, but we kind of got takedowns on each other, and he just comes. He almost sprinted at me with strikes, like ran across the ridge, bum 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 bum, and I was just not. Sometimes it's just not immediately what you're expecting, especially like third round. You often you've gained each other's respect. You're moving around, you're circling, and kind of finding those gaps. But he just sprinted at me, comes out throwing bombs, hits me with a huge knee. I was running on pure fury and rage at that time. I grabbed him, I hurl him into the fence, literally just bodily, just throw him into the fence, and come charging forwards with my chin up in the air with an uppercut, I'm going to move the camera, uppercut from back here, swinging it down, and boom, and you knocked me out with an overhand right. And the only thing I remember is I looked up, and my head, he's standing over, and I've gone from, so if he's standing here, I've gone from standing here, he's knocked me down, and as I'm looking up, my head is at his feet, my feet are away from him, and I just see this hammer fist just boom. And man, then it went dark. I don't remember what happened until I woke up in the change rooms. Basically, I was walking about, but you lost the memory. Heartbreaking. And now I got cut for that, which is a shame, because I'm going to put that fight out this week. Let me know when you post this. I'm going to post the fight. Because I'll be honest, I think it was fight of the night on the day. It was an amazing fight from two heavyweights, just like we were fighting.
But what's annoying is, sorry to interrupt, but you said they cut you, but I think you had a great fight. Your first fight, they're probably trying to chuck you to the wolves a little bit against that Craig Hudson, let's bring this English guy to Canada, and then you obviously showed him up there, sort of thing. Did what you do best. The second fight, obviously you went to, it was the States, wasn't it?
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah, so he's there. Another fight abroad, away from home territory, and you put on a great fight. And if it wasn't for that slight injury halfway through, he said you were still winning. So surely you'd look at that and think, well, he came forward, he dropped the guy twice. He obviously wants to fight. Let's give him another shot, which in my eyes, mate, is something. Hey, I love Bellator. They've looked after me very well when I've been there for media days and stuff like that. But That seems a bit fishy to me.
I think I was a victim of the changeover. My first
Yeah.
fight was with when Rebney was running it, and my second, I had quite a big break between the time, which is I really didn't want. I was desperate to fight, and then the new Scott Coker and those guys took it over, and I think I was kind of one of the old guys, one of the guys they wanted to push, and I don't know, and then whatever, and I got my loss, and that was that. Yeah, it happens.
Still a fantastic experience so early on in your career, though. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
you'd
it's brilliant.
already fought at Cage Warriors as well before that as well, and so
I'd never fought a Cage Warriors.
didn't you fight Cage Warriors Wales against Garrett Hill?
Well, it never used to be called Cage Warriors Wales. I
might be reading the wrong information here.
No. You're right. It's on Tapology. They changed it because it's a show. It used to be called Pain Pit. It's Richard Shaw, Shaky. Certainly it was his show. I think it's still his show. Obviously linked with Cage Warriors now. But he was Pain Pit MMA. I was the Pain Pit heavyweight champ. I went there I can't think, it was 2 or 3 times now. I won their heavyweight belt, and it's since become Cage Warriors Wales. So kind of technically, I'm a Cage Warriors champion. Nah.
He's Cage Warriors champion. He's Bama champion as well. Let's add that in there as well.
I'm definitely not a Cage Warriors champion. I wish. No. Bama champ as well. Yeah, that was all right. Bama. I'm a little bit bitter about Bama.
I know. Yeah, it was a bit of a shame what happened with Bama. But you know what? It was the biggest thing in UK. It was probably the most watched MMA in UK at the time because we got it on Sports or Eurosport or something, didn't we, or something like that?
Oh no, that's not the reason. I got my first fight with Bama. I fought a Polish wrestler. And I've not actually never said this, whatever. I had a massive chest infection the week of the fight. And I was just like, oh man, I don't care. This guy's a bum. And it turns out he was a tough guy. He's a Polish national champion. But halfway through the first round, I had a Kimura locked up. Yeah, cool, finish. And I had a thing in my head, oh man, I want to scissor choke this guy. I'll get a scissor choke. This will be amazing. It'll go viral. This will be cool. So I went for this. I went for a wrestling scissors, and somehow he squirmed free of it, and then my gas just from my lungs just went. I'm just like just gasping for air. And to be honest though, it's out there online versus Stuart Austin, Arthur Glukowski. I didn't lose the fight. I got cheated on decision. I finished that fight knee on throat, not knee on belly, knee on throat, hitting him in the head and got dragged off. Like, I 100% won the decision. It was, and now it's a loss on my record. It kills me. I've called him out to fight since. I've offered, I would fight for free to fight the guy. I swear down, I would fight for free. I would give him my purse, and my purse, I no doubt, is a lot bigger than his. And I would fight him tomorrow, right now. I don't care. So I would love that fight back, but he's a smart guy. He knows the score. He got his win. Yeah, it is what it is.
But then you carry on with Bama, and you fight massive names, man. Like you look at the names back now, like Aspinall, Denham,
Yeah.
But you fought Godbeer as well, man. It's a massive name. Like you have, honestly, if anyone looks at your resume of fights, you can obviously see that you're someone who won't shy down from a fight. You won't just try and protect your pad your record out, things like that.
That's kind of been to my detriment. Realistically, I've been fighting pro for I think 9 or 10 years now. It might be just turning 10 years. And I've only ever been able to get 2 fights a year. I've only had 20 fights, which is a shame because people didn't want to fight me. Well, they still don't want to fight me. That's part of the reason when I went to light heavyweight, I had 1 light heavyweight fight. Then I had to move up to heavyweight because I had 11, 12 people say either take the fight and pull out within an hour, literally within an hour, or just say no. It might be more. It's like 20 people. Crazy, man. People just refuse to fight me. And yeah, it's just like even at heavyweight, like because there's less heavyweight, especially in the UK, it's difficult to get the fights. When I was younger in my career and undefeated, none of the top guys wanted to fight me because I basically wasn't even getting hit really. So they're like, it's like, who's this guy? And I'm gonna make you look bad. And you've not seen someone beat me, so the blueprint is not out there, and I had no name as well. So why would they want to fight me? I understand it. And then there were just no real mid-level heavyweights in the UK. No kind of stepping stones that there are at some other divisions. But that said, I personally, and I would recommend this to young pros anywhere, man, throw an easy fight in once a year, like, because now if I'd put one easy fight a year in, I'd still have all my tough fights. Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of tough fights. If I put one extra easy fight each year, I have another 10 wins on my record, and instead of 14-6, I'd be 24-6. And nobody cares. People, because they'll be saying, "Oh, he fought Godbeer, he fought Dan Charles, he fought, Doughty, he fought this guy, and people still see a good record, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this guy's got a crazy record,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
even
man,
if I put half that amount, you put 5 extra fights, I'm 19-6, and that's a very different record, and that's my own fault. I think I should have done that.
You shouldn't. I say you shouldn't put yourself down so much. You hit some good learning curves. Like, unfortunately, you came across a couple of UFC guys. Like, you come across Johnny Walker at one point as well. Things like that. Obviously, Mark Godbeer and
me and Godbeer had a great competitive fight. Godbeer, I've been disrespectful to Godbeer in the past, and I actually feel really bad about that. I'd love to have a chance to chat to him and apologise face to face. But man, Godbeer beat me fair and square. Johnny Walker, man, that's genuinely just the worst fight of my career. I don't know if I could beat Johnny Walker, but I know on that night, most of the people I've ever fought would have beat me on that night. I was not in a good place. And you don't want to be in a bad place against essentially what is probably the best person I've fought. That is not the time you want to have a bad night. It is what it is. I'd love to fight Johnny Walker again, but I'm never going to light heavyweight against it. It's not going to happen. I would really love to have a good crack at him, but light heavyweight was really not my division. I had 3 fights there. The first one, I feel like I'm almost kind of doing. I beat a really tough Dutch guy, Niels van Noord, he's fought for the Cage Warriors belt.
I was going to mention that, yeah, man. So you actually, not many people would go to Finland to fight that guy. So
yeah, but he, I smashed him to pieces, to be honest, really quick. And I think the problem for me at light heavyweight is I feel like my mental conditioning is way lower. Like, making the weight took everything my mind had. People who make weight, in a hard way, know it's pretty rough. Fight week, I was cutting 11 kilos in water. And I could do it, but it was very, the first time I did it, UFC, that was where I fought in Finland. It was a great show, amazing show. I've never been somewhere so well organized for the fighters. I've been on the shows that are just as well run and stuff like that, but not for the fighters. Like, the hotel, they flew us in. It was, I don't know, 3 or 4 days before. It was kind of normal, but we had meal tickets for the hotel. So, and we could just, because everyone speaks perfect English in Finland, obviously, we could just go and speak to the chef, and they'd be like, and you'd be like, oh, can I get this off the menu? But can I get not this? Can you add this? And you basically, they would just make what we wanted. It was so good. It was incredible. And so making the weight and stuff was much easier. There was a sauna in the hotel, which was great. And the weigh-in was imagine your sauna's in the living room, your weigh-in's in the bathroom, and the picture of the weigh-in is in the kitchen. Imagine literally like that. It was everything was within 10 meters of each other. They set up all the big posters and stuff for the official weigh-ins, and they just set it up in the room, and then we had the fake weigh-ins later, the nice fancy ones later, like people do. But we had it right next to the saunas in the hotel for the fighters. And if you're going to be cutting a lot of weight, really, that is what you need. You need things to be convenient and next to each other. Because I was able, I went down to cut my weight at 7 a.m. in the morning. It was crazy. None of the other fighters were there. I cut my weight by 9, had to wait till 10, went up to the hotel room, just lay on the bed in misery for an hour. Fantastic. That was great. And I was the first one on the scale. Come fighting, oh man, you'd think fighting on UCMA in London would be easier. I made weight with my friend. This is when I fight Johnny Walker. Made weight with my friend, and we had to drive across London, which, oh man, it was like, it was only 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's not rush hour at all. But it took us, we had to make weight, and then we had to get, and then the coordinating everything, which is way harder. And the worst time when I was in South Africa fighting for EFC, I only fought I signed a light heavyweight contract there. I only fought one light heavyweight fight there. But I basically, the sauna, there was a sauna at the hotel, great, amazing, closed at 6 p.m. because it's part of a health suite. So it's like, you can't use the sauna. I think then they might have asked them to open it late, but it was like till 8 or 9, which again is not great. And then the weigh-in was at 9 a.m. in the morning, which again you think, oh, that's cool. But no, the weigh-in was an hour and a half drive away. So like that means you've got to cut the weight before that hour and a half drive, because once you're there, you can't cut any more weight. There's no way. Mm-hmm. And it was a title fight, so you've got to be on point. But that means like you've got to have cut your weight by 7:30 in the morning. So you're weighing at 9, but you've got to cut your weight by 7:30. Really, maybe even earlier, because you've got to be leaving.
Not ideal.
So like it was like, what, do we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start cutting weight in the baths or something? And I'd never bathed, so I'm like, I don't really know about it. I like sauning, so I cut weight the night before. Made the weight. It wasn't an issue making the weight, but then I had to. It was about 10 or 11 hours I'd made weight for, and I was dry. And trying to go to sleep. No, I've never. Everyone's had nights where I didn't sleep a wink. I literally didn't sleep. I lay there the whole night with the driest mouth you've ever had, and just kept turning over, and just agony all night. And then drove an hour and a half. Then you get to the venue, and then the commission, not EFC, the commission turn around and says, "Oh, I know we're weighing in the fight order." And then you do your so they said they're gonna weigh in the fight order. Then they do their medical. Then they do this. Then they do this, and then we weigh the next guy. And I literally, like, I turned around, and man, I was the main event, and I abused it. Then I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they tried to argue. I threw my row right out the pram. I go storming up to the president. I'm like, bro, what's happening? Man, I've cut weight 12 hours ago. Your man's trying to tell me to. I've just got. All we have to do for a weigh-in, you step on the scale, tick the box. Then we can do photos. We do everything else 10 minutes later, an hour later. It doesn't matter. But get me on that scale, tick that box, get the fighters on as fast as possible, because this is people's lives. You know, people are in a bad way. I wasn't the only one, but I was the one who lost my shit and started making a fuss, screaming and shouting.
You've got to say something. Say something.
And you know what? They weighed us all in. They weighed everybody in. I was the first one on the scale because I went crazy. I just didn't accept it. But I weren't going to sit for another 2 hours. But yeah, that's my light heavyweight stuff. And that was against Doucher, he's in the UFC as well, which was, oh man. I need to give people a library of the robberies I've had.
But that's what I mean. That's what, when I looked at your record and your career, I didn't see someone who lost a fight. I thought, God, he's taken on the best fighters here, and there's a split decision here. There's this, there's that. You know, there's so many aspects to it all. So
kind of stupid.
From an outside point of view, mate, honestly, it just looks like you're the sort of fighter who doesn't pad his record out, who wants to take on the best fights. And I personally think as well that has really paid dividends for you in getting your shots with Bellator, EFC, and stuff like that. You know, and honestly, with Bellator now, you know, investing, and UFC as well, investing so much time in the European series in the UK, in Ireland, and all around Europe. Hopefully now, because back then when you fought Bellator, I guarantee if it was big in the UK like it is now, you would have still been fighting for them. You know what I mean? But hopefully we see you there again, because you fully deserve to be.
Man, you think I don't wish I could be fighting at Bellator?
No, I'm saying no. I want you to be.
No, Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wish I could be there. Like, you know, when they're recruiting everyone last year, not for me. I had to go to Russia. I did not pick to go to Russia. I thought it was an interesting experience. The craziest show I've ever been to. Like, weird. Like, 100 people. It was for Putin's birthday party. It it
Bloody
was
hell.
insane. Oh man, me and my friend, I don't know, you know, Luke Trainer. He's a young up and
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
light heavyweight. He just signed. So we go out to Russia. And it's from moment one it started kind of going a bit wrong. So like on the day of the flight, I get a text, oh man, we've had to change the hotels, whatever, and I'm like, cool, whatever, who cares. Why do you care about this? Obviously when we get there, the hotel, it's like a really shitty athlete accommodation. Like it was like we both had like it was like, you know, we were kind of staying in an athlete village for at the Russian National Training Center,
Yeah.
which was an interesting experience, really interesting. But the hotel was just like we had smaller than single. It was like a single bed frame, and if you imagine it's a wooden frame, and the sides like go up, overlapping the bed. But then the mattress on the inside was smaller than the bed frame, and I'm 6'3", 6'4". Luke's 6'6". He's a big bastard. Um, and we're on these tiny bed frames, and it was just immediately, it was just a little bit uncomfortable. And then at the hotel, the food, we got full board on the food all week, and you're just like, man, they weren't too great with giving a stipend, which is kind of sucks because some shows just give you money at the start of the week and you can sort yourself out, which I like.
Yeah.
But this one's like, oh, we'll just pay for the hotel food. When you're at the 4 or 5 star hotel, that's nice. When you're at the shit fucking athlete accommodation, and it's like the worst food I've ever had. And I know like some people are making weight, they'll be like, oh yeah, you're lucky to eat, man. But I didn't want to eat. Like it was I've never ever been fussy with going to I'll eat crappy food. I don't care. It was just so dull. Oh, so boring. And we're going out to eat, paying money out of our own pockets to eat. And I don't know if it's just the area or if it's just Russia in general, but the food was garbage. Just so boring. Um, yeah, and
What is traditional Russian food though? What is it?
I don't know. Everyone says goulash. I don't see no goulash. Oh, actually, no. We did have something like goulash after the fights at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. They took us to this like £1 million restaurant, like mega fancy Russian oligarch restaurant crap. And but then they serve this is people fighters from all across the world because it was super eclectic. People who've just fought, and then the first course was they just standard courses they just brought out for everyone. The first course was a beetroot salad. When I'm talking beetroot salad, it weren't salad, it was just beetroot. It was just slashed up beetroot. I mean, I can eat a bit of beetroot, but I don't want to eat a bowl just of slashed up beetroot. That's not a meal to me. The second course, it was some sort of like goulashy whatever broth, but it was I want to say it was either what is it? Oh man, what did my mum used to put in the stew when I was young? It's like kidneys or liver or something. Which is the one that's really good for B vitamins, but it tastes kind of gritty.
That's liver, isn't it?
Is it liver? Yeah, it was a liver goulash. So that was the only meat in it. So don't get me wrong, it's super like fine dining stuff. But man, I just had a crazy fight. I do not want that horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. And then the whole thing was just weird. And it was cool because they were like trying to throw money into it and be really flash about it. And we'll treat you. But it was just like not what you wanted to eat. You want to have just some normal food after a fight. Anyway, and oh man, the whole thing just went wrong. Oh, worst. It was good. I just got caught. It's the only time I've ever been game planned like bad, real bad. This guy, I've never fought in a ring before, and it was a weird ring. You know, normally when you're in the rings, there's like a space like this under the bottom rope.
Yeah.
So this one, the bottom rope was like
Touching
2-3 inches off the floor, real close to the floor. So, but that means you can't go under it. Yeah. But it also means so you can't go under the ropes, but you also can't climb up the ropes like you can on a cage. And I wasn't ready for that. and he just had a better game plan than me. He was we were very, I think our level of pure fighting ability was very similar. We were really, really well matched, but his game plan was just on point and mine was just wrong, and he just bashed the shit out of my leg real early. He had wicked kicks. I was checking shin on shin. He did not give a fuck. And like 4 or 5 kicks in the first 40 seconds, 50 seconds, the leg kick, just going shin on shin. And then my leg fucking, I don't know whether something happened into the muscle or something, but my leg explodes. And I'm just panicking. What? And I do the classic combinations. You look low, you look down, look at the feet, and then go to the head. Boom, look low, boom, boom, come in with your punches. And I look low, and boom, he kicked me again. And I look low, and I'm like, oh shit! And I just ran straight into like a right hand. People say straight down the pipe, but most people throw every right hand looping. This right hand went like, boom, just straight, boom, boom, and I just run. Imagine when you run into a cupboard or you run into a door or something, it just doesn't move. And I just hit this thing, and it didn't rock me. It just, took all the momentum out of my body, all of it. It's like running into I don't even know what. It was awful.
Like running into traffic, head first into a lorry.
Yeah, but just face first. And then I end up in the clinch. He just hits me with a standard little kind of tie clinch trip, just because I was just like, what is going on? Head goes kind of like at the end of the ropes, right in the corner, and he just starts throwing bombs, just ground and pound. I'm trying to kick him off, but it's awkward. You can't kick because you can't. Your head doesn't even push off the fence because it kind of goes just about under the rope. You can't run under the ropes like people used to do in Pride. You can't sneak through the ropes to try and get away from him a little bit to play the game, and you can't go up. So I just got trapped in the corner, and then I'm trying to kick him, and then he just threw my legs, like the classic throw the legs, but they go between the ropes, like because I'm in the corner, so my legs go between the ropes, and then it's just over. It's done. He's won. Like there's nothing about. Like he just TKO'd me. I just balled up, like because I couldn't do anything. He just completely didn't hurt me, just like bust my leg a bit, but didn't hurt me, like rock me or anything. Just completely outfoxed me. Just, man, the ring, he knew the ring, like in terms of the grappling. In terms of the striking, I was fine because I've done stand-up rounds in rings. It's fine. But in terms of that grappling, I was just a fish out of water. I'm so good, at Titan, we're so good on the fence and getting up against the fence, using it, pushing off. And man, I was not prepped for it. And it was such a shame because afterwards, like, I was just like, what just happened? I just got beat, like he just out techniqued me, like in those specific, he just out game planned me. And I was just like, I just literally walked out and I was just like, what was I meant to do? It's a shame, but man, it was an interesting experience. The whole event was crazy with like barely any people there, some huge names fighters. And when it kicked off, because it's Putin's birthday, imagine there's all the security like you've ever seen in your life, like more than at like Buckingham Palace or anything, way more. There's like these guys wearing like everyone was wearing like beige khaki clothes, like the weirdest, but like head to toe in beige. It was pretty odd. They're like, and they've all got these, man bag things like over the shoulder, and Russian men do not normally wear that many man bags. They're not big on the old man bag thing. They're more of a shaved head and leather jacket sort of guy. But like, and then you're like, these are all Secret Service, and they all have submachine guns in their man bags. Yeah. But they can't. They don't. They don't openly. They're literally like whatever the KGB is now, and they've just got them in their man bags. Then there's military boats patrolling all around because this thing was like, it was on the shore and it was on like a pier, and at the end of the pier is this venue, and there's boats patrolling around. There's snipers in the towers, and they've cleared all the public out of the nearest, I don't know how far away out of their homes and out of stuff, and there's snipers on the top of the towers. There's boats fucking patrolling around, military boats, and there's divers going in the water to make sure people don't try and dive and get there via. It was crazy, and at the same time, once it hit, I don't know, like 5 o'clock, they started playing this crazy like deep trance music, and the this light stove shuts. There's like green and blue, green and red lasers and lights, just boom, boom, boom. You know, the kind of laser show things that are constantly going for like 8 hours or so, 6-8 hours, with this constant just like do 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 for the entire show. And it's like Metal Gear Solid or something. Like you're trying to infiltrate, get onto there to. It was weird. It was so strange.
I bet that was weird, man. It's like when you see that TIE fight and stuff, and they play that crazy music in the fights and stuff, you know.
Oh man, it was the strangest thing I've ever been to. Like I'll never go to a show like it again ever, unless I get that show again. Never ever get to a show like it again. It was so strange.
That's one thing to tick off your list, man. You competed at blooming one of the most powerful people, if not the most powerful man in the world's birthday party.
Yeah. He didn't even turn up in the end. But there was like ministers everywhere. There's like the minister for sport. This guy, that. They had, who the hell did they have? I think they had David. Was it David Carradine? I think it was David Carradine. Is he still alive? I think it's David Carradine. Came and did it, presenting. Thanks for the invite, Putin. I'm so pleased to be here. And like presented this, I got you this trophy. The trophy's in Russian. He didn't matter. You know, they're giving him this trophy as he walked in. He hands it over and smiling for a photo. It was so strange. Like, yeah.
It's almost if you're like thinking, am I on a reality show or something here? Like, where's the hidden cameras and stuff, you know?
Weirder than a reality show, I'm telling you. Imagine, like, it was just the oddest thing. And then the lineup, the MMA of the fight show was crazy as well. Like guys from like you know Mondragon, Geronimo dos Santos, the big monster Brazilian guy.
Geronimo one,
yeah,
big
he was
guy,
there.
big.
Super cool.
With the long hair.
No, he doesn't have long hair. He's got a shaved head, but he's crazy mongo big.
I'll look.
Geronimo dos Santos, check him out. At one point he was on like a 17 fight win streak, and now he's a bit more like turn up to get paid, but he's still a good fighter. But he's there's so many just like interesting, cool fighters who were there, just random people, and it was just a very, very surreal experience. Very, very surreal.
I bet it sounds it, man. I'm literally just getting a picture up of this Mondragon guy. Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
yeah, here he is. Yeah, that's just ridiculous, man.
He's a different species.
It's like Bob Sapp's, like, you know.
Yeah, literally, he's a monster.
Yeah, but you got to look back. You must look back at your career though and think like you've done a lot already. You know, you've still got a long way to go. You know, you've been a lot of places. You've been to Putin's birthday. I'll never forget that about you. I'll never forget you at Putin's birthday. There's snipers and divers everywhere, and man, you want to think of a James Bond film or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's mental. It's so weird. There's some really cool shows out there that are not called UFC and Bellator. Like there really are. Like EFC down in South Africa is doing some super cool stuff. That they've not quite got the depth in the bigger guys divisions, which is the only sad thing at the moment. But their shows are insane. Like they're on terrestrial TV, in huge, you know, amazing arenas. What else? I've not fought there, but I went to KSW in Wembley. I don't know if you've. It's amazing. I was like, man, I'd love to fight for KSW.
Man, in Poland, they feel like 80,000 seaters, mate. It's crazy.
Wembley was full. Like Wembley Arena was full with only basically only Polish people. It's super cool. Like I'd love to fight KSW. Like, you know, even just for the you know, the feel of it. Like it was an amazing atmosphere, and they have got some old school pride. You know, pyrotechnic craziness going on. KSW is amazing. So many shows out there now that are just doing it and in their own way. I've got this thing in my head. Me and George Tokos, he's a Bellator fighter. We've got this thing where we both want to, like, I want to fight on like all these different. I want to hit all the continents if I can. Obviously, maybe not Antarctica, but if I could fight in all the continents, that'd be amazing. That'd be a first thing. You definitely want to fight Russia, Japan, Brazil, America. I've already done Africa. I've done Russia. Like there's some of those places I want to love to fight in Japan. I think Korea would be super cool as well. There's so many. There's like a few locations that I want to hit. I want to hit the stands as well, like a Kazakhstan or a Kyrgyzstan. I think would be super cool. But that's not got there yet. I've just got these like kind of side goals. I've got my main goal, like where I want to get to, like in terms of getting to the top. But I've got these kind of side goals where I'm just like, I would love to do some weird stuff.
It's like when people say, like, I'm going traveling for all this time. Well, you've been going traveling for the last 10 years, sort of thing, and you're getting to go to all these different countries, not just to visit, but to do what you love doing and get paid for it, So
Yeah.
it's a nice lifestyle, to be fair to you. How many countries have you seen, already? And only 30 odd years old, you've got plenty of time to see more.
Sorry, I feel like you made a mistake. You said I was getting paid for it. You mustn't have checked MMA paydays recently.
I don't check your paydays. No, I just assume you guys get something over there.
I get paid a little more than a lot of guys, but like, I'm still a coach. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's why I want to get that step to a KSW, a Bellator, a UFC, just to get to that point where they will. Where you can be a bit more secure. That was the kind of thing I feel I missed a little bit on in EFC in South Africa. Like, because it's so big there, at the moment the show is still investing very much in their own promotion in the show, and the money isn't really on point. It's decent. They're not disrespectful. I will grant them they do pay okay. But it's not the big bucks. But the sponsorship out there is kind of starting to really take off. But it just never sort of seemed to hit for me. I think I only had 3 fights there, and they just again struggling to get the right fights for me. Some of the local guys are getting a lot, like getting paid very well every month through the sponsors, just because they're on such a huge platform. I mean, it's weird. Like, I was getting approached in the streets for photos and stuff. It was, people know who you are, and it's just. It's night and day to the UK, really. But
you'll make your way over to those Indonesian countries, as you're saying, that the Japanese side of things and stuff, and you can just explode over there, man. You can show them what it's all about.
Oh God, I hope so.
And the good thing over there as well is, mate, they're probably some of the most respectful crowds of people as well, especially in Japan and places like that. They just think fair play. There's never booze or anything like. Yep, you got in a cage and fought. You're a legend. You're a warrior. That's what they build their lives on, don't they? And discipline and all that sort of stuff. So. Maybe that's the perfect place for you with the attitude you've got, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's cool. I kind of I'll be honest, in South Africa, man, I kind of had a beef with the Congolese guys because the controversial fight where I feel like I won, I got robbed by the referee a little bit. I was fighting the Congolese champion. It was crazy out there. The Congolese guys specifically hated me, and I was having a bit of fun with it as well. Like, and they are not particularly good at shit talk. So he wasn't really dealing with it too well, but like it was kind of, I don't mind being I'm happy to be the bad guy. I'm not like, I'm a nice guy, but I am a bit of a cunt, so I'm happy to play up to that, like like people, sometimes we can both be silly to each other, and we're kind of both nodding and winking. We're all good. Like Conor and Mayweather, they were both both being dickheads to each other, but they're both consented to it, so it doesn't matter. They're like having fun, getting into it. Whereas it, like, sometimes with these guys who can't talk at all, it becomes Conor and Jose Aldo, and then you just feel like you're bullying a little bit. It starts to feel a bit mean, but that's part of the fun. Yeah,
mate. That's it again, mate. I love it, mate. I love the attitude, mate. I love the freshness of yourself, mate. And I can't wait to see you back in there again, mate. But obviously, before I let you go anywhere at all, what I want to do is just I'd always ask this in one of my last questions. So, who gave you the nickname He-Man, or did you find it yourself? Where's that?
Oh no, people who give their own nicknames are lame. Old fighter Mark Allen just started calling me in the gym. Like, my hair, I know you think it's pretty glorious right now. But no, like it used to be pretty long, and the longer it gets, it just starts to become a bowl cut. Natural. I have a natural bowl cut, and especially when you train, yeah. And I was somewhat jacked and had a bowl cut, so therefore He-Man, yeah.
That's quality, mate. Master of the Universe, mate. Love it. One of my favourite films, mate, growing up as a kid. Do you know what I mean? So quality, mate.
I've never seen it. I watched the cartoons, but I've never watched the film actually.
I watched it back there a little while ago, and I thought, shit, Courtney Cox is in this, like, as like a kid. You know what I mean? And then all these random faces are turning up, and obviously you got Dolph Lundgren. I only see Dolph as Drago myself. You know what I mean? But but no, man, great. You got to check it out. It's so cheesy when you watch it now, though. By the way, but shit 90s films, man.
I mean, I've got time for it now. I have time.
Exactly. I think it's on YouTube, to be fair, as a freebie. But before you go, I just want to quickly say, mate, thank you so much for taking time today. I know that's all we've got, but I know it's still taking time out your day to, talk to us all about how you got to where you are. Because honestly, it's been an incredible career you've had so far. The people you fought, the places you've been, It's been amazing, man. But I want you just to give a shout out to, if you haven't already, any gyms of your gym, any training partners, any sponsors, anyone who's helped you get to where you are today that you'd like to give a mention.
Yeah, cool. Obviously, I'm at Titan Fighter now. Is my main gym, and I also train and coach at Fight Zone in Bethnal Green. I'm trying to think. My original coach, I feel like I have to shout him out. Trojan Free Fighters. Paul Sutherland there was really pushed me to becoming a good pro. Really educated me. The other thing is, like, I'm still hoping, we don't know yet, hoping that Pro Bellum is going to go through. So yeah, I want to be in that heavyweight tournament because that is an exciting one with some big old school names. Last thing, Vigor 8 body wash. Do it. Get your Vigor 8. If you don't know what it is, Google Vigor 8 and check it out. And XS Guard, the gum shields, yeah. Chris Goals was there, has looked after me for a long time. He's a super cool dude.
Nice, mate. Perfect. And actually, do you know what? I completely forgot to ask, but I didn't know if you were able to mention it or not about Pro Bellum sort of thing. So obviously, when all this gets lifted, is it just been postponed now? Is it cancelled sort of thing?
I've been told it's been postponed. And I really hope it's been postponed because, like, the fights in there are super cool. It's me, James Thompson, and at the moment, Stav Economy as well. I'm not sure who the fourth is at the moment. I would really, really like it to be Mindigaus Gerv because he is a big monster, and I think that's kind of a fun and exciting fight. He's a big 6'10" killer, so we'll see.
Yeah, man, he's a monster, mate. He's our current heavyweight champion at Shogun MMA as well, mate. Yeah. So yeah, mate, maybe we'll have a look into that. Maybe.
Who knows?
Hey, that's it. But again, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and honestly, I can't wait to see where your career goes in the future, and hopefully, I might be able to play a part in finding you some fights out there as well, mate, while we're waiting around. So yeah,
cool. That'd be awesome. Cheers, buddy.
No worries, mate. And also, do you have any? Do you bother with social networking and all that? Give a shout out where people can follow that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. Stuart Austin MMA on everything. That's it. Stuart STUART AUSTIN MMA. Stuart Austin MMA.
That's it, mate. You've heard it here first. All right, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it, and we'll see what the future holds, mate. Thank you very much.